What's up, Sports Nation? Welcome back to The Ball Don't Lie, where I may think my picks are right, you may think your picks are right, but at the end, the ball don't lie. I am a Miami Dolphins fan, born and raised, and in anticipation of the draft, I wanted to go over some of our worst draft picks in recent memory. I think it all starts with Deion Jordan. Edge. He was taken number 3 overall in 2013. Oh, good God. This was when I was first getting into football. And I remember my dad being really pissed at this. So Joe Philbin and Jeff Ireland were the head coach and GM at the time. And I vaguely remember my dad saying, we already have Cameron Wake, we don't need him. But he also didn't point out Oliver Vernon, who was a rising star. He was not a superstar, but he's a stud, right? Think Zach Sealer of today. And we traded up from 12 to 3, and oh good God, yeah. I think the rest I say is history. We could have had players like Lane Johnson, or get this, DeAndre Hopkins. We could have had D-Hop, but no. We had to go ahead and waste it all on a guy who barely gave us shit. This one's a little bit farther. 25 years ago, Jamar Fletcher at number 26, corner. Our head coach and GM was Dave Wanstead and Eddie Jones. We were still trying to solve that post-Dan Marino life, the reconstruction period of the Miami Dolphins. And we did have a pretty good defensive back room then. We had Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain. You know who we could have had that draft? Drew Brees. Even though we tried trading for him, we could have just drafted him and solved a bunch of our problems. But yeah, he was just never good. This one, 2007, I don't consider him a bust. I just consider it not the smartest draft pick. We picked Ted Ginn Jr., number 9 overall, which is pretty high when you consider his career. We had Cam Cameron and Randy Moeller as our head coach and GM. And we wanted to go with speed and flashiness. So, we could have had Darrelle Revis or Patrick Willis. This hurts. He did have a good NFL career, but he was mostly just a return man with us, which kind of pisses me off. Anyways, in 2017, with the number 22 overall pick, we drafted edge rusher Charles Harris. Who? That's what I said because I completely forgot about drafting him. And it makes more sense when you hear our head coach was Adam Gase, general manager Chris Greer, and we don't gotta talk about who we could have had. He's just a disaster. Only 3.5 sacks in 41 games, and I'll tell you who we could have had. We could have had Tre'Davious White. Good, right. Or we could have had fucking TJ Watt. No, we just didn't need him. Oh God, yeah. This one hurts me the most because I absolutely love this kid, and I don't think it was all his fault that he didn't pan out. But in 2020, with the 30th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins selected cornerback Noah Igbenogany. Head coach was Brian Flores and Chris Greer. This should have been really good. And we could have gotten a good wide receiver like T. Higgins or Michael Pittman Jr. And he didn't really just develop. And we traded him a while ago to Dallas. In 1997, so this is going a little bit back, but I thought it deserves some mention. We had Yatil Green, wide receiver, number 15 overall. Jimmy Johnson and Eddie Jones drafted the guy. and we wanted a big play wide receiver. But, we could have had Warrick Dunn and Tony Gonzalez on our team. Yeah. So for me, those are the worst ones. I don't think we got to talk about anyone more recently. I think we're good, right? There's no quarterbacks, right? Miami's good at drafting quarterback, right? Yeah, Tua, obviously. Yeah. You know what's crazy, though, is that realistically speaking, Tua is our best draft pick since Dan Marino. Or biggest, I could say. Biggest draft pick since Dan Marino. Yeah. So, that draft pick put us in purgatory. Though it's not like we were going to get Joe Burrow. So, we even traded up, and the Bengals said no. So, I look at, like, all the quarterbacks from that draft class. It's not pretty. Like, and I think quarterbacks, and this is kind of where I'm going to break away and talk about something different, is that I think quarterbacks just aren't worth drafting in the first round anymore nowadays. I want to see if I have my notes. I took a lot of notes at work instead of working. No, I don't have them. But I think the guys like Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and Zach Wilson, drafting quarterbacks just doesn't seem worth it anymore. And it's either because they're pushing these guys in too fast or they're not letting them develop, yada yada. But that could be a future video that we talk about after the draft. Speaking of the draft again, please make sure that you follow, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And come watch with us on Twitch, the NFL draft. It'll be a good time. I have my buddy Justin, Giants fan, going through purgatory. You can see I'm already in purgatory. But at the end of the day, come debate me, talk about my comments, talk about me in my comments, my picks. Who else did I miss? But at the end of the day, whether I'm right or wrong, or you're right or wrong, the ball don't lie.